a little bit.
All right, let's pretend it's opening. It's been a whole week, huh?
Wow, dude,
it's
that's
been
crazy,
a whole
dude.
week. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Man. It's a trip how big of a difference it makes sitting where we're supposed to. But we can't right now because we have a little thing called heat. No, I'm not talking about the movie with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. I am talking about it is freaking hot as goodness gracious outside. It was 108. My AC keeps conking out on me kind of heat. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
You said that like you're reading it off a script or something. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Hi, and welcome to Swircast episode 7 with your sultry host, Giorgio, and... Well,
I'm actually not sweaty at all today.
He's not sweaty at all right now, because
we're
AC'd.
inside, we're AC'd up yes. And so, you know...
Yeah, what he said. It's kind of nice. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, we have a topic list like up on an actual TV. It's kind of nice.
This is like official.
This feels like...
I could pull stuff up, Jamie.
I know, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though, is that we have a little thing called disciplines, and a discipline is that, we do this in front of the garage, but it has been there's actually a national heat warning that was issued by the state.
Issued by Apple.
Issued by Apple himself.
By the Stephen Bills of Apple.
Yes. And it was like, dude, you better watch out because it's going to be hot. Make sure that you gird your ice cubes and trays and make sure that you fill thy pitchers because you will need said refreshment.
I'm like looking at my wallpapers right now on my PC. This is crazy. This is beautiful.
It's kind of a trip.
Got so much inspiration. Holy shit.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, we know what we want Swircast to be, but we need to challenge ourselves. And I'm realizing that right now I feel like Goku with the weights off.
Or Rock Lee with the weights off. Who else takes weights off?
Or Rocky with the weights off.
Oh my god, who else does it? There's gotta be more.
There's someone else too.
Dude, there's gotta be more. I swear.
Man. It'll come to us.
Or us with the weights off.
Oh, foreshadowing. Check back in 6 months. Dude, housekeeping.
So housekeeping.
Hey, you wanna
I think to take this one away. Typical housekeeping here. But let's start with something a little different.
Well, I can't read it from here, so
I can read it. So all right. Well, I peeked there for a little bit. I'm peeking. All right. So Resident Evil. You may have heard of the show.
I think I have.
Because I'm actually talking about the show, the Netflix show.
Was this the one that was on Netflix?
Yeah, bud.
Nice.
It was on Netflix, and you know what, guys?
What happened?
Doggone it! It was canceled after just one season. Count them, one. So yeah, hold your horses if you're expecting anything more, because yeah, it's not looking good, guys.
Just play the games.
It's not looking. Yeah, just play the games. The games are better. Don't play past 6 though.
Listen,
don't play 6 because 7 was good.
We heard from a little birdie that finished the whole first season, and a little birdie said, "Not too good. Not too good."
She didn't like what she saw.
Yeah, she didn't like what she saw. She didn't like it. And
you know what? I didn't really quite like what I saw either.
I
enjoyed it for reasons that
I appreciate. Because
I think we mentioned it too in that podcast, but I just don't feel like Resident Evil should be even adapted to the screen. It's like, dude, that was one of those games that they made to be a game.
Go back to Swircast episode 1. You can go and retread old waters with us there.
It's like adapting freaking like Tetris, to a film.
That's adaptable. Actually, I have a script for that.
Dude, speaking of Tetris, they should have had
Tetris. No. They can't know about that.
Dude, it's such a good idea.
They can't know about that. Not yet. That's Swirfidential, dude.
Shit. It's in class B, section E, file 34, section Z. All All right, so to end the housekeeping, we got our live streams on. I realize I put this under live streams. Like, all right, so for our live streams, we live stream Monday, 8 to 12 p.m.
Yes.
Wait, 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
To 3 p.m.
Or to 3 p.m.
You said you could read it. I trusted you.
Apparently not, dude. I'm having some trouble here.
Listen, let me get this news topic for you, okay? But first, we got to introduce. Let's give a proper introduction to the news topic section, as it were. You got your news coming to you. You got a baker's dozen worth of news.
We gotta stop with like.
What are they gonna do?
How much shit we're riffing off?
What are they gonna do? He's got kind of funny. Let him go do it. Okay?
You're like, it's not like. Never mind.
Listen, we love Colin, and we love Greg. I mean, that's neither here nor there. We're just getting right down to the news.
In all honesty, their podcast, like the Game Over Greggy show, and then like Beyond, when it was like at the height with just them and stuff, like that was kind of a big inspiration for a lot of the podcast.
Absolutely.
So,
but they do time for some news, or they did. We're not doing that. We're going. You got your news. News. What's our first news topic?
Okay, so getting into the news here, folks. Netflix, the BioShock movie, has found its director. So, BioShock has a. This is a quote from who? Netflix. This is a quote from Netflix via the Twitter. They said, BioShock, our live-action feature film adaptation of the renowned video game franchise, will be directed by Francis Lawrence, director of I Am Legend and The Hunger Games, Catching Fire. Okay, so he only did the second one. Oh. And he also did Slumberland. And the script is going to be written by Michael Green. He wrote Logan, Blade Runner 2049, and American Gods. I've seen Logan and Blade Runner from those, and I love both of those. Personally.
Yes, I heard American Gods is really good too.
I have
but
too.
I can't speak to it
I just
personally.
haven't seen it.
I've heard.
Maybe I should go check it out. All right.
Maybe.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the writer, the director. I Am Legend's not bad, and Hunger Games, personally, I think only the first one was really that good. The second one, I was like, okay, we kind of did this already.
I actually think Ebert said that too. When he said, I Am Legend, not bad.
Nice, dude.
Yeah,
so, needless to say, that's happening.
Hey, I'm excited to see that you got Mr. Green on the script here because, BioShock is pretty beloved. So
I wonder how they're going to,
I'm a little, honestly...
I wonder what their plan is with that. Because I'm like, are you going to tell the story of the game? Are you going to tell some other story inside Rapture? Are there going to be big daddies?
you got plasmids.
I'm interested in how they do that. Thing too about to note rather about BioShock in a movie of BioShock is haven't they been trying to make one of these movies for BioShock since BioShock?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see it because it's like, we're 15 years away almost.
Well, Sir Levine, he's always said he envisioned that this would be a movie. That
he did?
It was something he said at one point,
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Anyway, now that we got that out of the way, we're going to get into your Gamescom official... Oh my god! It's Gamescom? Are you serious right now? Yes, we're serious. It's Gamescoms. And we've got coverage for this.
Gamescoms?
Dude, because in my head, I'm like, bruh, we got to give the people what they want. Okay, there's that one guy in Oman. We see you, buddy. Okay, and we want to make sure that this is good for you, dude. I'm sincere.
We're thankful for your listens, and this is really for you, bud.
This is for you.
This is borderline intimate.
Oh, you okay, good bud? You having a bad dream, that bud?
For those who are questioning, Giorgio stammering off to his own illusions that he sees.
What delusions?
He's been struggling with that recently, actually.
It's my guts.
He's been seeing things.
It's guts, guts. No, it's one of the dogs here.
It's our dogs. We got our pooches in here. We're doing it inside. We got our pooches.
Because it's hot.
It's hot. We got to keep them nearby in the AC. We don't want them to burn.
We don't want to burn our equipment either.
We don't want to burn our equipment. That's why we have no camera today.
Yeah. That's why you're looking at a picture of
I'm gonna be honest.
of a frog on
Don't do this.
on
Don't.
a lily pad. you didn't know why you were looking at that this whole time, but
Dude,
now
this
you,
is
now
so
you understand.
freaking. Because now I'm like this son of a bitch. Dude. I don't know if I should. I don't know if I in my head I have to do this or if I.
It's
I'm
already
not
done. Look, they're looking at it right now.
This is so much more work.
Yeah, dude. Don't worry, I'll find a picture for you, bud.
You have to find the photos. That's the thing. If you want to do this, whoever calls the
It's
photo,
already done. Look at they're looking at it. Anyway, let's moving on. Listen, have you guys ever heard of a little thing called a DualSense?
Oh, I've heard of a DualSense.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a DualShock, the predecessor?
Yes, but
I actually like. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
have controversial opinion here, but
I actually prefer the DualShock 3.
I thought that it was better when they did the one without the rumble.
Can we be honest? What were they thinking with the DualShock 3 and 2? And honestly, 1.
I think they were thinking we need a controller. I think that was probably the first thing they
I
said.
just remember being a kid and whenever I couldn't hold that controller. It was so like.
I still can't hold it, dude. I mean, I can hold it, but not like well. Anyway, you got your DualSense, and it's a much better interpretation of what they were trying to go for, apparently.
It's
like
actually a
20
good
years ago.
controller, I'm not gonna lie.
And now you got the Pro version.
Isn't it called the Edge?
Is it?
It's like the DualSense Edge.
You got me there.
You got me Edge.
But listen,
with
you got
trailers.
To give you the straight facts, Sony announced this right at the smack beginning of Gamescom, and they're like, "We're gonna hit you with the new controller. Every game you're seeing here is gonna be compatible to the
You
controller."
can't forget this main detail here.
Okay, and it's got the big thing that they got is 2 paddles on the back.
It's gonna have paddles, guys.
What you can do is you can program your paddles so that way you can pull off advanced maneuvers.
No, seriously though, like one of the coolest things that I heard about that was the thumbsticks.
Yes.
Because a lot of, I mean, like, I don't even want to single out really one controller. I mean, Joy-Cons I think are the worst with that. But like, I don't want to single out any one because like every controller deals with drift to some extent.
Bruh, Nintendo's like, just send it in. That's what
Yeah,
they
yeah,
say.
they're like, just don't.
That's
That's
one of the things they say. It's one of their mottos. Just send it in.
But needless to say, they have like replaceable thumbsticks. It's like a whole module, like the thumbstick and the little motor for it and all that. Like it's a whole module you can like
Really
eject
smart.
and
Really
you know
smart.
reload. You can reload your thumbsticks.
You can reload you can have backups.
Yeah, and honestly, it is really cool though because it saves a lot of time, a lot of like heartache and all that. For me, my question is, I'm like, how much are the thumbsticks? I mean, you know what I mean? If you're charging me like, you're charging
Are
me
they
like,
going to be on back order with this whole COVID thing? I mean,
yeah. Can you guys even produce your thumbsticks?
they're like, we're going to ship you your DualSense Pro Edge, but then we'll ship the paddles 2 months after. You're like, wait, so I got to wait like 2 months after I get my DualSense to use the paddles? And they're like, yeah. Sign me up. I'm saving for it, and hopefully I'll get one.
Honestly, yeah, dude, it looks tight. I like the Pro controller for Xbox, the Elite. It's pretty tight.
This looks like it's going to
So
fix the
this
biggest
should-
problem
yeah,
that
this
that
should
had,
be-
which was the drift.
Yeah,
You wanna get
Xbox
this-
Xbox needs to get on that. Honestly, with the
They do.
well, it's the build of the controller. I don't think they can do that. The more I think about it,
Because they didn't build it with the hot swaps in mind.
I bet you that's why they did the DualShock, dude.
Sony took their
They
time.
they planned that. They always wanted to get to this. I think from the very
those
beginning.
smart.
Okay, think
sons
about
of-
it.
of
Listen,
nurses.
put on your tinfoil hats for a moment and just follow me here. Okay, think about it. They built the DualShock, the DualShock 1 with no thumbsticks because in my head they're like, Xbox already has thumbsticks. But how are we gonna have thumbsticks? You're like, dude, the
That's the
Xbox
thing.
wasn't even
Yeah.
around.
I'm like, all right, track with me here while I give you this alternative history.
No, and so when the DualShock 2 came around, they're like, we're gonna deal with drift. They had forethought. They had foresight. It's like it's in like Psychonauts, they had clairvoyance.
And clairvoyantly, I'm seeing that I'm going to be opening up on this new Hogwarts Legacy topic we got here for ourselves.
I just can't stop about these thumbsticks. I'm telling you.
I know, and I can't. And you're going to be thumbing your thumbsticks all over Hogwarts.
I'm gonna be thumbing my thumbsticks while
You're gonna be showcasing common rooms, Gryffindor, you got Slytherin, you got Hufflepuff,
Got
What was the other one?
Ravenclaw.
They got Ravenclaw. Wow.
Wow, it's so blue. Wow.
Check out the trailer, guys. They showed all of the common rooms,
And they look tight, dude.
They're
Because
all unique.
I like how that's just what I was gonna get. I like how like specified they are in terms of aesthetic and all that. Like the whole color, the whole like energy and vibe of each common room is like so different for each of the houses and stuff. So that's pretty tight. The game looks cool. I especially like how there's like no multiplayer, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah.
like only single.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, which I really like.
What doesn't make me happy is the fact there's not going to be playable Quidditch.
Which I think is where the game is going to lose.
How much
It
you want to bet?
crumbles on the Quidditch.
You want to? I'll put money on this right here. You heard it here first, folks. Okay, Quidditch will be DLC down the line.
I can like totally see that.
It's gonna. You heard it here first. Swircast episode.
So like
7.
we took our time because we really wanted to build customization into the Quidditch.
We really wanted to make you feel like you were writing your duel.
Dude, for all you know, they do that, and their whole thing with that is so like that's our online. It's like you do online Quidditch matches.
I'm down with that.
That'd
dude.
be fucking tight.
Imagine,
You
dude.
get your
Hop
team
online.
together.
Let's do. You want to play ranked?
Squad.
You want to do some deathmatch before we warm up?
Let's go squad.
Wow.
Dude, that'd be tight, dude.
Yeah. And honestly, here's the other cool thing. You want to get sorted into your head. You want your head to switch you into your house. Just go online and search for it, bud.
Yeah, you can do it now.
You can do it right now.
You can do it now.
IGN reports.
Wait, hold on, let me pull up this.
You can pull that up, Jamie.
I'm pulling it up. All right, so it looks like you have to go. It doesn't have the website here.
Wow.
That's not very informative.
You scrolled straight to the go
Turns out
up,
there's
dude.
not much, dude.
A new
Oh,
blog post on
wizardingworld.com. Go to wizardingworld.com.
Yes.
You can link your WB. Oh my god! You can link your WB games and Harry Potter fan club.
Oh my gosh, Colin! You heard it here first, folks. Crossover, unlockables with multiverse and Harry Potter.
Harry Potter
characters
confirmed for
in-
multiverse.
No. You're gonna get his kids.
You're gonna. They give us Ron.
Who's that? It's a.
They give us
Harry.
Harry. They give us Ron and Dobby.
Harry Potter.
Dobby is Dobby. Dobby has sock.
Dobby no fight.
Dobby don't know why the sock is so crusty.
There it is. Do you want to get this next one, bud?
Yeah. War never changes. The thing about war is you gotta have a lot of weapons. To have a weapon, you need a blacksmith. You know what's the number one essential tool of a blacksmith?
What?
A hammer.
Okay.
Now you got war, you got hammer, and you got warhammer. Okay.
Okay. How many of these you got?
So we got 40,000 warhammers.
40,000
Okay,
warhammers.
40,000.
I can't.
A baker's
Thousands.
dozen. We got 40,000 warhammers, guys, and the tides, they're dark. Okay, I don't know if they're turning. Dude, so dumb.
You gotta stick with it.
And as the tides turn. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut through the shit at this point. So, 40K. Wait, no, 40K Warhammer 40K Dark Tides. That sounds wrong. Dark Tide. Anyway, that game.
very grim.
It's basically Vermintide. That's probably what they did. That it's the tide, But it's basically the 40K version because Vermintide is like during the normal Warhammer series, which is like medieval and fantasy and all that. And Darktide is going to be that same kind of deal, but like in the 40K, like futuristic shit. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. It looks really tight. I just like seeing that world as like the new games come out and stuff because you see it in like higher fidelity, more detail, and all that stuff. And it's just there's already so much like continuity with like the way the aesthetic is with all of that because of the models and then like Warhammer's been around for so long, and so it's just really cool. And if you're into Warhammer, you like Vermintide, you'll probably be a little excited about it.
It looked really, really heavy and very visceral.
Yes, and you're like you can like you're like building, because it seemed like you're like a prisoner or something, and then I don't know what happens after that, but essentially you're like
break out, dude.
Yeah, you break out. Maybe you're like paying a sentence, Freedom Wars style.
You're like in Hopper in season 4 of Stranger Things.
Oh my god,
it's a little callback for you there, fellas.
But anyway, yeah, it's pretty tight. It looks cool.
You know what's tight also?
Hmm.
This song, because we're gonna need to take a quick break because this next one is gonna be nuts. Okay, so hold on to yourselves. And we're live.
Yes.
Now you're probably wondering why you're looking at a log sitting on a...
Can you fucking
Can you give me a second, please? You're probably wondering why you're looking at like a log sitting on a workbench ready to be chopped. And it's because it's reminiscent of
you're writing these down for yourself to search, right?
Mentally, I'm taking notes. But you're probably wondering why you're seeing this. And it's because there's this little character we all know of that was made of a very similar type of log named Pinocchio. Okay, and Pinocchio is getting his own feature game now, finally. But he was working with some people, and they kind of came up with some things, and they decided to go on a darker route. And so you get Liza P. Would you like to tell us about this?
Liza P. It's basically Bloodborne, but it's Pinocchio style this time.
Yes.
It's not as dark, but it is pretty eerie. You got. I'm talking steampunk. I'm talking steampunk. Okay.
Are you talking oil?
I'm talking Pinocchio.
Are you talking
right?
gears?
I'm talking steampunk.
Are you talking like bronze?
So essentially, it's not like lighting wise, it's not as dark from what we've seen, but it does have a lot of like eerie kind of horror leaning towards kind of like horror-y kind of vibes and all that. For instance, all the enemies are like clockwork kind of like machines and stuff like that. And so they're like. They seem like they're based off of like little woodworking kind of toys and stuff, but they added that kind of clockwork vibe to it, so they can like, I think just thematically and all that, get it to move and like fit the theme of the game and all that.
Weird, creepy like jitter to them.
Yeah, they're always jittering, and the thing from that was I was hearing a guy talk about that, and he was explaining how, you know, like seeing the phases of an enemy's attack animation, like the wind up, and then like the thrust, and then the actual hit, or like the hits, like seeing these different parts of the animation. He said it was hard to read that because of the jittering. But then I watched some gameplay, and from watching it, it kind of shocked me how much I was able to even like see it. Because just from watching it, you know, like I could see the timing. So for me, I'm more curious how the game like feels, like how the movement feels, how snappy it is to the controls. I want to see how the lock mechanic works, because that's kind of a big one for me with like the FromSoft kind of games, or the Souls-likes, is it needs to be snappy, because the and it needs to be precise, because the lock-on is like kind of a big part of CCing in a lot of ways. For those in the back, it's that's crowd control. Crowd control, teenagers. No, so that's crowd control, and yeah, Liza P looks really tight. Like all the designs were really unique. They were really cool.
Like the first truly competent, like Souls-born like clone.
Yeah, that's like
I'm really impressed with like the detail that's in it. Thematically, like you said, it's very creepy, very eerie, very spooky. But
it's a little cold. All the gears, all the oil and smoke, and
you know. But I like the aesthetic a lot. Really like the design. I had some people complaining. I saw some people complaining about Pinocchio.
Yeah, they're like, why are they doing a dark Pinocchio? That's weird.
Why?
I'm like, why are we doing a lot of the things we do?
Why am I even mentioning you on my podcast?
Why am I alive?
Listen, they can say what they want, okay, but that won 3 awards at Gamescom.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
It's coming to Series X, Series S, Xbox One. Oh, it's coming last gen?
Yes.
Interesting. I don't want to say anything about that one, but that's interesting.
It's coming.
Okay, it's coming. It's coming to Xbox One. Okay, it's coming to PC. It's coming to PS5 and PS4.
Make sure that you dust your
and
PS4s.
It will also be on Games Pass. Is that coming day one?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay,
Which
that's,
is nice.
That's tight.
So
Wait, aren't like all the things coming to Games Pass coming day one, pretty much? Like at this
a
point?
large portion of them were, yeah.
That's tight.
Now, what I'm thinking is, let me go over the one after this
You're
next
gonna
one.
say let's take a break.
No, that would be ridiculous. What I would say is let me cover that one under there that we need to go over, and then you, the one right after, you just boom, you hit it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. So remember when you guys were kids, you'd go out in the backyard and you'd be playing and stuff, and then, your mom would call you inside and, you wouldn't listen to her, you wouldn't listen. You're having so much fun in the backyard, you're just playing, and you're like going down slides, monkey bars, you're doing flips off of the swing, and you finally go inside and your mom's like, I've been calling you, what's your problem? And you're like, Mom, I'm having such a good time outside in the backyard. And she's like, well, you can't play outside anymore, you're grounded.
Wait, did you jump to... Wait.
Yeah.
Did you just go to this one?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was going to go to that one.
Oh, and I'll do this one?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. I see, says the blind man.
So anyway, grounded. I'm such you fellas are sure you listeners are sure to understand I'm speaking of now. Grounded, the Xbox studio game, is going to finally have its 1.0 launch. So yeah, Phil Spencer and that game director Adam Brennick. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on.
I actually didn't get when it's launching.
But
I feel like a fool.
But
Hold on.
did they provide the date for that?
Yeah, I believe so.
Goodness gracious. Release date. There it is.
Release.
Click it, man.
September 27th.
September 27th.
It is releasing on Xbox and PC. So
Fantastic.
yeah, go enjoy that.
Yeah, they added a mantis boss fight. They're gonna have more explorable areas of places and a ton of accessibility options. So if you got problems with that,
because they already have
they
already have a bunch of accessibility options, but I think there was a few more they're gonna add and stuff with the. And yeah,
All right.
I want them to kind of like. I feel like a douchebag for kind of like saying this like before the game is even out, but they have it like early preview.
Right,
I
right.
want them to rework the progression in that game because the progression feels weird. Like I feel like I'm progressing when I look at what I'm doing. I'm like, yeah, I'm progressing, I guess. But when I think about the process, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm progressing. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. I just think it's a little. I can't put my finger on what it is yet, but yeah, I just feel like the progression feels a little odd. But
Well, take some time on it, sleep on it,
But the
formulate your thoughts.
the thing about progression, though, guys. Okay, it's very. Dude, we're on fire with these segues, dude.
Yeah, you
Okay,
already feel it, dude. He's feeling
I'm
it.
feeling this one, guys. It's like jazz. Here's the thing about progressions, guys. Okay, is in life things progress. Okay, well, you got Legend of Zelda, the first game, and now look, you got Breath of the Wild. It's crazy.
Wow.
Okay, you look at Halo 1, Combat Evolved. And look, now we're in Infinity
Wow.
with Halo. That's a big number.
Weird.
Wow. So the thing about progression, I don't know how I was going to connect this. I thought about it, but like now I'm getting closer on it, and it just doesn't work. So the thing I was going to
Took
get
your eyes
at
off
is,
it.
you got Dead Space. They did Dead Space 1, fantastic game. I haven't beaten it actually yet. I'm still working through it. I'm like
This
actually playing
freaking
it
guy.
right
Listen, there's a protocol to things, okay? Usually you play
Shut
them,
the fuck
okay,
up, I
and
already
then
know.
you finish them, okay?
now. So okay, let me get to the point, guys. I'm meandering way too much. Callisto Protocol. That was another game.
digressing.
That was another game. I'm regressing right now. There was a lot. That was another game at Gamescom. They showed a lot more gameplay. They had a whole little like demo that they showed, and all I could say is wow, because that thing, like, especially the whole tunnel, like in the like water.
This was for what game again?
Callisto Protocol.
Okay.
I said that right.
I think I was saying something while you were saying it. I want to make sure our listeners could hear it.
Okay.
But I wanted it to feel organic, you know?
All right. So
So thanks for ruining that.
So needless to say, they showed off some gameplay, and there's that whole, like, slide in the water, like, reserve whatever like piping, and like that whole slide scene was like really anxiety inducing.
So do you remember?
And then that death was fucking horrific, dude.
So do you remember growing up, like, you know that, like, where that Costco is, and you'd follow that little, like, whoop-de-doo, like, twirly road to the Tomboys? And across from the Tomboys, there's, like, that hotel?
Yeah.
Well, that hotel used to be a water
No, I
slide,
know.
and that water slide felt like that. Except minus the fans.
Alright, cool, dude. Anyway. There's like no reference to that point, dude.
I figured, you know.
Well, anyway, the game looked nuts. They said that there's, you know, one of the big things with the game is honestly just even like the deaths. Like, Glenn Schofield, he's the director of the game, he was talking about that, and he was basically saying like the way they designed all the deaths is that they have, I want to say there's a whole system to the enemies and where they're getting hit and all that, and even the character. Like, as you're getting hit in a certain area, if you have a lot of damage on like your right arm, when an enemy comes and does like a death animation on you, they'll like rip off that arm that has like a lot of damage on it. And so apparently there's a lot of stuff like that into the whole death mechanic, but there's also just the factor that like they deliberately designed all the deaths to be like super horrific, because they're like, we want you to not want to die. They're like, they want you to like kind of be scarred from the death and like be like, man, I don't want to see that again. I don't want to have to go through that. And apparently one of the whole things with that too is that, you know, one of the design choices for the whole game was that they decided to, and I wonder if they're doing this based off of just the animations in general, or if it's based off of like the types of enemies you're running into. Like maybe the enemies later on in the game have more like crazy animations for their deaths or what, but like they're trying to control the progression of like how horrific it is. Where like when you're towards the end of the game and you're like further into it, like the death animations are way more like gruesome, way more detailed, way more like long.
Which is smart,
as
because
you
that's
go.
rewarding.
Yeah, and like the thing I noticed from that gameplay trailer was like when he died, like watching it, I could see that he died like way before he actually died in that animation. It's almost like it triggered like a cinematic, and then it put you through that. But it was just like your character dying. And so for me, I'm very interested to see how much they push that kind of stuff, where they're like you still kind of are trying to control your character, but it's like
you're already done.
It's like, dude, you died like a long time ago. Like,
You died the second you were born. I'm sorry to say.
yeah, like,
You're wow, this
I
game is kind of philosophical.
yeah, I'm really curious how that's gonna go and how that all works out and stuff. But from what it looks like, it looks like more Dead Space. It definitely looks like a spiritual successor, like pretty blatantly.
I'm in.
But the differences that are there are like genuinely like interesting, and so I'm all in. I'm all excited. Yeah, game looks tits.
I'm yeah.
Want to get this one, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about it, you know? I mean, it's you know, you got this thing, you know, it's you know, you got this whole Gotham Knights that we've been covering for a little while here, you know, and they finally released the release date, you know, October 21st. It's pretty nice indeed. So, you know, we learned a couple neat things about this. You know, we learned about the way that some of the co-op works, some more details. I don't remember if they'd actually discussed it before. You and I had kind of forgotten about it, or at least it passed over our heads, but they did confirm that it is co-op, so it is two people that are playing and dropping in, and then the host.
It's not like multiplayer.
Yeah, so the progression would follow. You said it was the host, correct?
Yeah, it follows host progression for the nights,
Yeah.
and they have like a whole day-night system and all that. And
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting how it works.
Well, I like the fact that the whole notion is that, like, okay, you've got these crimes and these gangs and these different sections of the city, and during the daytime, you're basically planning how to take them out. You're like getting yourself, you know, doing your research, you know, getting your upgrades, all that kind of bit. And then when you go out at nighttime, that's when you actually fight crime.
Yeah.
And so from what I was understanding, it's like there's a lot of carryover. So it's like you're basically progressing the story and all of that, but like as you have these encounters with certain enemies, that can turn into emergent gameplay for like the next night, or that could
Like it'll cause like the way they explain it to you is it's like you're doing detective work also, and like they're like, we want you to feel like them, which is basically almost like Batman when he was getting his hands on the reins of like Gotham City.
right.
And they're like, we want you to realize that and like feel that. They're like, and the way we designed it was they wanted to design it where it's like there's no way for you to take care of every crime in the city, so you have to like think about how you want to go about it. And I don't know how much that's gonna have consequence on like the story and stuff like that, but like I expect it to not have a lot, because obviously you need to be able to like beat the game.
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm very interested to see how they do all that. And essentially the idea being is while you're in the city and you're like doing your detective work and you like take care of a gang, maybe you're like while you're on the top of like a roof and you're just watching them, you'll hear them mention something about like a place like somewhere in the city, and then you're like, oh shit, like let me take care of these guys and then go over there. And you go over there and you find like a document that's like, in a few days they're gonna do this big crime at this one specific spot or whatever, or like building, and then that becomes like a mission for like the next nights.
It's so cool.
It's so dope, dude. Like I'm so down for that, and I'm curious how, because it's pretty clear it's gonna be like there's gonna be like a looter-y kind of aspect to it. Like I'm assuming even the suits, it's like, man, I want that suit, and you're like gotta like build it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you
from what
they
were explaining, it almost feels like they're building it out to add to it a lot. So it's almost going to end up being kind of like a Destiny of sorts, but like with its own style, with its own kind of fresh thing.
And I'm curious too, like, because a lot of those kinds of games, the big deal with it is, and I've told you this for a while, like
it's the end game.
The game starts like when it ends, because you beat the main story and now you've presumably like leveled up all the way, you've gotten all your stuff. And so now it's like maxing out your damage output and stuff like that, which comes from like synchronizing like, equipment, or like getting certain skills and building your character particularly or whatever. And so I'm curious how they do all that, and I'm curious also if there's going to be like raids, because that's a big thing from those kinds of games, is like you go to do a raid and there'll be some like big unique boss there, and those are the ones that take you like hours to beat, right? When you're in there. But like once you beat it, you get like a legendary weapon, or like an exotic this or that, or etc etc etc, some very specific gear, because it's a looter, so you're getting a bunch of like almost like algorithmically rendered like stats and all that for like the weapon. But these exotics typically have like specific stats and like specific names and like specific designs, and like,
hopefully you can equip more than just one of them.
like freaking Destiny. And that thing frustrates me. I'm like, I haven't gotten deep enough in an endgame with Destiny to like, and I'm honestly never gonna do that because I stopped playing like him a while ago. But like, I never went deep enough in it to like understand the builds properly with that. But just from face value, I'm like, I want to equip like a bunch of exotic stuff. I want my guy to look like really cool. But that's a whole side thing. But anyway, like back to Gotham Knights.
I don't want to get too deep into the exotics here.
Like even the villains too, because the whole thing, because they cleared that up. I was confused. The one thing I was not confused, but I was just curious about was, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be almost like an Arkham Knight, where it's like you got your main story, and then like remember you could go to that quest like radial wheel and like change which quest you're going down.
Yeah.
Like, and like a lot of them were side missions, but they were like really like developed like stories and stuff. I fucking love that game. Like, I was curious if it was gonna be like that, and you got like Mr. Freeze's little storyline, and then like, or what? But like they kind of clarified that where the main story is the whole Court of Owls thing, and you're really just going down that whole thing. But as you're, like we're talking about, as you're going through the nights and stuff, like maybe you'll like deal with a thug or like a gang of thugs and stuff that like tell you about this place, and you go there and like maybe Clayface is there, and like you just ran into him, and like they want you to have that unique feel where you're like, dude, there's villains in the city like planning and doing shit. There's like gangs planning and doing shit, and like I'm trying to do this freaking Court of Owls thing, but I also gotta like keep the city in check. And so I'm really curious how they go with that, like how deep they go with it, because, like I think if they go too deep, it's going to get kind of like taxing, you know what I mean? And if they don't go deep enough, it's going to be boring. So I'm just curious what balance they strike, because like to do this kind of thing with the Arkham kind of like gameplay and all that, I think is like really tight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks pretty cool, and
Very nice.
yeah, very excited for that one.
Yeah, as you should. As you should.
Alrighty.
Oh, we're making
Well,
good time, you know.
We are. I know. I'm like holy shit.
Like, wow, you know, we're doing well, you know, and so, you know, you got this game called Dredge, right? Okay, and this is another game that they, you know, they revealed. You basically got your sailboat. You know, you're like a guy that, you know, washes up shore. You end up talking to longshoremen. You get yourself a boat, and you start fishing, and it's pretty serene until it's not. Because there's eldritch horrors lying in beneath.
Eldritch-esque.
Well, they're basically eldritch.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like sea monsters and stuff from what it looks like. It looks like a bunch of
Listen, it's. I heard from a little bird on the street. Basically, the way they described it is, it's one of those ideas that you're like, why didn't it get made? Like it's like right before you this whole time, you know. So I heard that, you know. So
the game looks tight. It's got like it's got like a cute little like art style and all that, and then
eldritchy.
It looks like there is this like scene where like you're like flashing this light and like a whole like island shows when the light like shines on it and stuff. And so I don't know. I want to see more of it. I want to see the whole puzzle.
It looks like a very I'm trying to think of the word to put it. It looks like a game that's easy to get into a flow state with. Where like I'm just like I'm fishing, doing this stuff. I'm killing freaking tentacled things. You know, like it looks cool. I like it.
Yeah. I from what they've shown, I don't think there's been even that much they've shown. They just put a little trailer, but from that trailer, it looked tight.
And for me, it's
cool.
and you'll probably start noticing this theme as the rest of this episode goes on. But games are getting cool again, guys. Like Marco and I are always talking about this, like in a more serious note. Like as we're seeing all these things, like games for a little while there, like it was going through some growing pains, and like they didn't feel like games. And now games are getting cool again. I mean, like you've got like a fishing game where there's eldritch horrors under the sea. That is like honestly, all kidding aside, super cool.
Yeah,
and, like, it does make sense.
And I think one of the big points to make too with that whole like games are feeling like games is like definitely not for every game to like the same degree, but like the majority of games in general, like I'd put like a level of replayability on, and games for a little while were like not very replayable. Where I'm like I don't want to play this, like, or I do, and then when I go back to it, I'm like.
You're like, I remember this one.
I remember this, though. And, like, everything... That was the other thing, too. Everything is trying to be so cinematic. And, like, it's really cool. Like, you get games like Red Dead. You get games like Last of Us. And it's, like... Even, like, a Death Stranding. Like, stuff like that. It's really cool. But, like, there's also that other aspect. God of War is another one. And, like, specifically Last of Us and God of War, like... You hear about the development, and they're basically saying, like... We made the game. We got all the story. We filmed all the stuff. It was great. Though, like, and the game didn't feel fun until like the last bit of development.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, at the end of the day, good job. You guys got it to feel good, and like people are able to play it, have a good time. I played it, had a good time, saw the story. And Last of Us, I think, is really freaking in a good spot because they actually got like really good gameplay that is replayable. But God of War in particular, between these two, like. You and I going back to it recently, like we just got bored of the gameplay because it's like the gameplay it's not that fun in that game.
Yeah.
You know, and it feels good when you don't know what's happening in the story and you're like intrigued in the story, but replaying it and when you already know it, I'm like I'd rather actually just watch like the cutscenes. You know what I mean? Like watch a playthrough of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and that's just me, but in the greater whole, like with those particular games, but in the greater whole, like. I think the point's pretty clear. Like, a lot of games got so focused on trying to do, like, one specific thing that I think they kind of put the fact that it's a game, like, on the back burner.
Yeah.
Which supported certain things, but, like, in the grand whole, like, I don't know. It's like what I was telling you earlier. I'm, like, from, like, 14 through like 17-ish, like I can't really remember like what came out because there wasn't anything that really stood out. You know, like I think Hotline Miami's came out, or like Hotline Miami 2 came around then. I know Overwatch did.
Yeah, indie games were kind of making their,
You know, yeah,
their-
like
their
that
mark
was
at
that was
time.
when they were like really kind of pushing that stuff.
They were
but-
making up for a lot of the AAA stuff that like should have been coming out. At
Yeah.
least it felt that way, because at the end of the day, it's like everything just happens for the way it does. It's like,
Yeah.
But nonetheless, so you know, it's.
That being
it's-
said, this year in particular, I think games were like at Gamescom and all that. It was very clear. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, though that's been the case, there's also been like, in particular, coming from Microsoft, because a lot of these are Microsoft studios that they've been acquiring over the last years. Like those studios have been fucking hard at work,
Yeah.
and they're making some like really cool stuff. So it's really exciting to see what happens.
Heard they've been working for a very long time.
Very long time. Speaking of long times, you take this one, Dale. I'm like.
She's supposed to say, oh, long, yes. Woo! Speaking of Wulong, there's this new game called Wulong Fallen Dynasty.
It's Wulong. Is it Wulong or
It's Wulong.
Wulong?
Listen, I'm just saying it the way that I know how to pronounce it, and if there's another better way to say it, proper way, I shall learn that. But as of right now, I believe it's Wulong. New game from Team Ninja. You probably know from them from like, you know, Neo 2, Ninja Gaiden, as it's properly pronounced, speaking of proper pronunciations. But yeah, dude, I mean, the game looks pretty tight, dude. Like, it's typical Team Ninja kind of gameplay. You know, they're just going at it and swinging swords. But this one's got this whole new, like, Chinese kind of, like, mythology sort of, like, aesthetic going on that, like, we're starting to see more of, which is really cool.
Yep.
We like seeing other cultures, like, and all they got to offer, you know.
Yeah.
Big fan, you know. But yeah, I mean, you know, definitely check out like a trailer or something, because honestly, like it's one of those things where it's like it's very visually like bombastic, you know. Like it's really cool to look at all of like the fluidity of motion and all that. So I would say, like, if someone's listening to this, you know, you'll like Ninja Gaiden, you'll like Neo.
Wulong Fallen Dynasty.
Is it Wulong?
Wulong or Wulong? Spike Lee or Spike Jones?
Anyway, well, it's that time again.
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna have to put a song.
And you're gonna have to put a song, so listen to this one. Wow.
And we're back.
There we are.
So yeah.
And for our final segment, you're now looking at a picture of Papa Jeff Keighley, the one that helped with
This is
bringing
so young, dude.
bringing a lot of these beautiful announcements for Gamescom. So we just thought, let's give him
I'm
let's give him a round of applause. Come on. Give him a round of applause, you know.
Yeah, I don't know when you said
for
Papa Jeff Keighley, I was thinking of
for Jeff Keighley.
I was thinking of Jeff Kaplan.
Jeff Kaplan, Papa Jeff Kaplan.
Because
That's why I
he's a
call him
Papa
Papa Jeff
Jeff.
Keighley.
Yeah.
It's a merging of the two. But yeah, you're looking at it, and this is in remembrance. I mean, he's still alive.
You're
but
looking at him. He's wearing a suede jacket.
He's wearing-
He's got.
He's making
blue
that
jeans
face
on.
like he always makes when he's really excited for a world premiere. On the back it says world premiere.
He's like, and we've got another world premiere for you all.
And you're like,
You're
so
like, God. I
and
love
this
you,
time the final series, season finale for the Dark Pictures anthology,
The Devil in Me.
final game franchise.
Spooky, cold.
Why don't you go down there? Ah! Get off me! There's so much blood! It's coming to you soon, dude. This is very exciting, dude. Like, I haven't played, honestly, like, many of any of these, but, like, all the time I see clips, pretty cool.
I like the idea, but the couple times I've tried playing them, I'm like, dude, am I supposed to be scared of this?
I find myself laughing more than anything,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Which is cool. That being said, this one is the final game.
Yes.
And as you said, it's a little spooky, a little cold, it's a little dark.
So cold.
And it's supposed to be like a murder mystery, which actually I love me a murder mystery. I love Clue. I love Knives Out. It's just my thing.
Listen, if there's nothing I love more than a murder, a good old-fashioned, you know, Tuesday morning murder,
It's a murder.
It's a murder mystery. Like, how did a murder mystery. Like, how did it get here? Why is it not on Tuesday? It's Wednesday. No one usually murders on that day. Very intriguing indeed.
Broad daylight usually happens at night.
You're like, okay, this guy is brave. Okay, this guy he's got gumption.
He's got a screw loose.
Okay, he's either got a screw loose or he's just highly confident. Either which way, he's incredibly dangerous.
But yeah, it's a murder mystery. Sounds really tight.
So get your Sherlock caps in your pack.
And it's apparently going to be one of the more graphic titles. It's going to have a lot of sex, a lot of drugs.
No, I don't think they're talking about that.
No, there's going to be like a lot more like blood and guts.
I love them blood and guts.
Yeah, I just love the blood and guts.
So
yeah, it's gonna be it's the one from just reading like just what it is and seeing the trailer. It's the one that intrigues me and makes me want to play it the most.
Yeah.
So far,
it sounds like as they've released these, they've gone more interesting.
Second only being the one with Ashley Tisdale.
Which one was that one again?
I don't know.
Is that Quarry?
I just know she was in one.
Is that Quarry?
No, that game looks fucking tight.
That's the one with Brenda Song.
Yeah, dude, freaking Zack and Cody actors, dude, getting into these freaking games, dude. Shit. Anyway,
this isn't high school anymore.
for those of you who haven't seen Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, go check it out. It's a fantastic show. It's fun to
Mr.
play.
Mosby
It's fun to play.
was he did something wrong. I can't remember what it was.
He was awesome, dude.
No, but
Remember,
in the show he was fine.
Remember Irwin?
Who's Irwin again?
He was like the junk guy, but he like... Wasn't it Irwin? Then there's Esteban.
Are we talking Steve?
You were talking Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Oh, I didn't really... I see, that was after my time.
Bullshit, dude.
I didn't really watch that show, dude. Jonas Brothers? Jonas? I watched that.
That was even more after.
What's it? Man, I got all my Disneys all mixed up. Starting to show my age a little bit, aren't I? Listen, I watch stuff like Blank Check, okay, like freaking Smart House, you know, Black Cauldron. I'm just kidding. I'm talking
like
those
Silence of the Lambs?
those pre-Eisner years, dude. Those. This
Pre-Eisner.
isn't that good. Pre-Eisner
Pre-Eisner,
years.
dude. Oh man! But anyway, Dark Pictures anthology, The Devil Inside, or the Devil in Me. All right, let's move on. It's coming out. You guys know.
Yeah, seriously.
If you're into any of the Dark Pictures anthologies, you know.
Listen, get off the topic, okay? The winds of change are around, okay? Yeah, they've shifted, okay?
And where the winds shift, sometimes they shift back around and they end up meeting. They end up meeting right in the middle. Where the winds meet, it's a game. And it looks cool.
It seems like it also may have some online capabilities.
So it looks like it may have some online capabilities. Now the thing about this game,
Can we provide an image?
okay, you're in a feudal. Wait, no, you're in China. Okay, you're in feudal China.
Was China feudal?
We sound like dumbasses. Well, it takes place in China, and yeah, basically you're like Assassin's Creed in parkouring around. You're doing all this crazy shit. You got a bow, okay. You got weapons, okay. But you also could have a bachelor degree in law, okay. You also could be the best fucking neurosurgeon this side of the east. All right.
The side of the Niagaras.
Yeah, freaking the last frontier of the Wild East, you know.
Yeah. Right? No.
Anyway. There's okay. So like jokes aside, it does take place in like China and like you know like rural China and all that back in the day. I don't know the name for the arrow.
All kidding aside, makes like 3 jokes in a row.
Okay, now jokes really, you know, they're put in my pocket. I put them in my pocket.
Just
Okay?
stick to the bullet points, bud.
Because I put
Bullet
these kind of
points.
out of place. So
Let them do the talking.
I put them out of place though, so they don't make sense if I read them in line.
Listen, like you should.
So
just...
the game is basically it seems like it's gonna be kind of like almost like a real life kind of like simulator in a sense where it's like you're basically in rural China and you can have all these occupations. Okay, the game developers were focused on giving the player a lot of freedom of choice. So they wanted you to be able to like, go commit crimes or, be a lawyer for those crimes. So you could be a doctor, you could be a bodyguard. That was
You
one
could
of
go
the things
commit
in here.
crimes and then exonerate yourself.
Yeah, there's gonna be many occupations. This is a quote. Okay, there will have many occupations: doctors, orators, bodyguards, etc. It will include a robust job system that allows players to specialize in a variety of identities and occupations that exist in an Oriental martial arts society. Other than becoming a doctor, players can choose other occupations, Everstone says. For example, they can become an orator who uses power of words to convince NPCs to follow their advice. They can become an architect who builds all kinds of imaginative buildings. They can become a bodyguard who protects players or NPCs from assassins. Or they can become a ferryman who takes passengers on a tour of the river. And so I think that kind of explains what I mean by like it's like a real life simulator in this kind of setting. And that just, it sounds cool. From what the trailer showed, like it looked really tight when I didn't know any of that. I thought it was just kind of like, I was expecting it was going to be towers. I'm going to be like expanding my map when I climb at the top of them.
Apparently not.
And I'm like, all right. It looks cool.
It
like,
sounds
the gameplay
more
looks,
like a proper RPG.
yeah, and
which
then
is cool.
hearing
I
all
like
this stuff, I was like, holy shit, this is actually way different than like what it even looked like. And so, but obviously, you can see it more when you go back to the trailers and rewatch it. You can see all this stuff there, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe I was blind, but like I didn't see them show like any of the like other occupational guys. It just seemed like a guy with swords.
Yeah, I didn't see any orating.
Yeah. It just seemed like a guy with swords and bows just like running around the countryside. But apparently it's a lot more than that, and I'm personally excited. That sounds really tight.
Yeah.
And yeah, should be cool. I don't think there's any information on when it's coming out or anything, but yeah.
This seems
we'll
like
probably,
another one of those like kind of like what we first saw. What was it, Black Dynasty?
Black Myth.
Black Myth.
Black Myth, Wukong.
Yeah, so it kind of reminds me of that, where it's one of those devs where you're like, I actually haven't heard of them too much, but this looks very well developed.
Yeah, and like they're starting to get like a lot more traction to be able to even like push it further and get more funding and stuff like that. So for me, I'm just happy we're starting to see more games like this that are like that seem ambitious and like require some Kickstarters and stuff. Because it's like, I don't know if this requires a Kickstarter, but it seems like a game that might. But yeah, that aside, it looks really awesome, and so
Indeed. Yeah. What else looks pretty cool, pretty awesome? Would be just jumping forward in time here, a couple light years. Going to a brand new frontier. And then you got yourself a little game called Lightyear Frontier. It's a game that hey, we got there. It's a game that we've heard about for a little bit, and they just showed more of it. So to kind of set the stage for you, it's an open world farming game, and you have your own little like mech that you're in. It's like your own little personal light.
Your own diva.
Your own diva, yeah. From
your own mobile suit.
Your own mobile suit.
Your own Evangelion.
Your
Is that what they were called?
Jalion.
Jalion.
But the game's got crafting and resource management, your basic base building, that kind of stuff.
It does seem simplified, kind of like Slime Rancher, though.
But it's all, and it's streamlined.
Where it's like you're doing that, but you're not like clicking specific little plots to like put shit down. You're just like vacuuming all of it.
Well, and for me, Lord knows that I love myself. I play farming games mostly, ladies and gentlemen, he said as he rolled his eyes. But this one actually doesn't look that bad.
It looks cool.
It actually looks kind of relaxing.
The art style's kind of like cartoony.
Would you say it looks like Pixar?
It's like Pixar, but it's not exactly. That's why I was having a hard time when I was writing this, because it's like my brain wants to go to Pixar because of the colors and stuff like that, but the shape of things is more almost like a Firewatch kind of.
I was thinking that actually.
You know what I mean? Or like something like that. Like it's just more. I can't put my finger on it exactly yet, but it's a little different. But it looks inviting. Okay, the word that we both came to the conclusion of was whimsical. It looks whimsical.
Yeah, we felt whimsical best represented our feelings towards the
It's hella whimsical.
Hella. You got whimsical coming out of you.
Listen, you got whimsic. You got whimsic like hella. But yeah, it looks really cool. And yeah. Alrighty.
We're almost getting to the end of this. You know, we got a few more games to talk about.
We got 3 more games to talk about, folks.
Yeah.
Okay, next one being, we had 3. 3 times 3, you got 9.
Yeah.
Okay. You got 9. Okay.
The brain likes making connections.
Well, speaking of 9, we got 9 Years of Shadows.
Ooh.
It's a cool name.
It's very cool.
It's a cool name, IMO.
I am.
It's a 2D Metroidvania.
H-O.
What?
I am H-O.
Oh my god. It's a 2D Metroidvania-esque game, and I say esque because it's like, when I see it, it looks like Castlevania. It looks like it's gonna have like retracking and stuff, but we don't know for sure. It could be like level based, but there's definitely like a level of platforming to it too.
Yeah.
Because it looked like there was like, look at the trailer, you'll get what I mean. Like there was a level of platforming. It seemed almost like maybe even like a Shovel Knight kind of platforming.
Yeah.
It was like a little like there's like a obstacle kind of tool that you use, like the bubbles in Shovel Knight, where it's like you bounce on them and stuff. It looked like there's gonna be like a little bit of that, but it looks definitely more combat based and stuff. It's got an anime inspired pixel art style, and it even has a guy who looks like Griffith.
Wow.
Okay, that's crazy.
That's astounding.
But yeah, it looks really cool. I like the colors and all that. I want to see more of it.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the biggest thing with like some of these games here is like from what they showed, it looks great, but they didn't really show much.
Yeah.
And so I want to see more of this. They showed off like a couple of the bosses. What I assume were the bosses because they seem pretty like big scale. They showed a couple of the bosses and they look pretty tight. They look like, almost like a Castlevania where you got like really good pixel art for the boss design. Like it's interesting. It's like stimulating to the senses when you see like the attacks going out and all of that stuff. And so, yeah, I want to see more of it, and I want to hear about how it feels and what exactly the formatting of the game is. Because yeah, I'm just curious on that. But yeah, game looks tight. I recommend checking it out and check out the trailer. 9 Years of Shadows.
Yeah. Boss battles are cool.
The boss battles look really tight. Again, what I assume it was pretty big scale shit, so I assume it was
kind of
boss
reminded
battle,
me of what was it, Contra Hardcore?
Yeah,
like there's an element
of
of like where they like take up a lot of the screen. It's just,
yeah,
like, a lot of movement still happening.
fucking dude, that game's so hard.
You know what other games? You know what else is hard? In a world full of evil and the armies of light that stand up against it, to not be an army of many, but to be an army of one. To be the last hero of a world. To
Wow.
be the last hero of Nostalgaia. Segway! The last hero of Nostalgaia. So this is a game where you play like just some like pixel looking character, but it's in a 3D space, and you're playing in, as they described it, all the worlds of video games. So imagine it being like a Soulsborne kind of like 3D action kind of game with the rolls and the staminas and all of that, and you got yourself your last hero of Nostalgaia. It looks to be really cool with like the whole meta. You put a note there about that, I agree with you. They're doing stuff like going, hey, okay, this is like the scary area, and this is to kind of borrow elements from certain games. Where there's like one part in the trailer where they showed him, like the customizable main character as like this like he like morphs into like the wall and like turns
like,
it kind of like in like links between worlds.
Yeah, I was just
yeah,
gonna say.
and like goes across the wall. Like they showed like a dude like running across like what looked like Rainbow Road from Mario Kart. So it looks like one of these kind of like mashup, like more memey kind of meta like
satire-y.
Like, yes, it's very satirical. So definitely not taking it itself seriously. I mean, I think that's pretty clear even just on the name. But the cool part about it, apart from all of that, because the game looks really solid for the most part, from the trailer at least. But the cool part is it's got seamless co-op, which means you could pair up with your bud and travel through all the worlds of Gaia.
It's also got big bosses.
Bitty big.
Bitty big.
So, hey, another one that is worth checking out, taking a look at. Highly recommend it. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's very, very much so. Like, at least from what it looked like the main meat of the gameplay and all that seems very directly like FromSoft. Like, there's even like a whole note system. It looks exactly the same as like
they were memeing on like the what was it?
like the character creation.
But even in the messages, they had like
no
looks like
finger
a dog
butthole.
and finger butthole and all that.
Yeah, and then there was the whole leveling up system too is literally like the same exact FromSoft like leveling up screen, where you've got like all the stats.
Fun. They said they have like hundreds of weapons in it.
Yeah, they've got like over 200 different items and weapons and crap. Like the character creation, like I was mentioning, that's like even kind of like a joke also, because you can like, it has like all these sliders, but like if you look at the gameplay, like you'll see like the character is literally like a stick figure.
Yeah.
Of like pixels.
Yeah.
And so like you're changing the sliders and like nothing changes because there's like no detail. And it's just like I like the energy of the game. I like the energy of the writing from like just the trailer, and so I'm like it
looks fun. It looks campy.
Yeah, it looks like a game.
Yeah,
it looks like a game, and it looks cool. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that one out, and I think you all should too, because it's pretty fire. Yep, and we're getting to that.
It's that time, yeah. We're at the
pen. Well, that was actually the penultimate. This is the ultimate.
This is the penultimate time before where it's our final time.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
We got a game. Okay. We got a game. Dude, his tongue is like fully out.
He's like knocked out.
He's like knocked out with his tongue out.
I don't blame him, dude. It's been so warm.
It's been, guys, just to reiterate, it has been hot as balls recently, guys.
Quite hot.
It has been quite the scorchers. We're thankful we're kind of on like the downswing of like the heat wave.
And by downswing, we're at like 98, 99 tops.
Okay, let me check. It's 86 right now. And it is.
It is the evening.
It's like 5 p.m. right? It's 7. It's 8 basically.
Oh goodness.
8 o'clock, and we're at 87 or 86. But yeah, it's been really hot, guys. Thankful for the AC, but it honestly, there's been a lot of times throughout the week where it doesn't even like. It's fighting. Like it's fighting to get the room cold.
Dude, my AC literally like it shut off my freaking power strip so many times. I plugged it into the wall, trips the breaker because it's literally like it it feels like a really old man trying to like carry like I don't know any sort of weight. It's just like struggling under its own load.
Oh my god, dude. But yeah, it's been a little rough with that. I apologize. I don't know if we mentioned this at the beginning.
We did. We mentioned it. We're just reiterating. It's been an off week.
It's been very off. The heat has been rough.
It's actually, all kidding aside, so you guys all understand, it's been literally affecting like our tech. Like our internet's been going down a lot.
Yeah,
like,
our breaker's been going out.
Like I've had to shut off my computer actually because the temps are getting way too high. I can hear it whirring.
Yeah,
like it's
there's been a lot of stuff like that.
It's been challenging.
It's even the same. Like we said, it's even the same reason why we don't have any camera for this podcast on the video.
That's why you're looking at a picture of Papa Jeff right now.
Okay. God.
And now you're looking at a picture of an orange.
Son of a bitch. Well, anyway, on to the last point, the last game here. Okay, now the thing about this last one is I put it last for a reason. Okay, and that reason was not on purpose.
Dude,
but
like
I realized
when God gives you gold, you're like, I didn't intend for this.
I know. I'm like, I didn't even think about it. But this is the last topic, and therefore it is the last case of Benedict Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gave me chills.
Wow.
It's the last case of Benedict Fox. It's a Metroidvania looking game but it's also like the whole aesthetic is like that 3D like side-scrolling kind of deal. And they have this is another one of there's a lot of games like this right now where it's like these like side-scrolling something or another, and they just don't show that much.
You got some Swedish guy going, "We really like Metroid." You're like, "Yeah, I can tell, man. I do too."
They're like, and speaking for the last case of Benedict Fox is Piotr here. He's like, "Hello."
Hello. I'm Piotr.
I really like Metroid. But they make banging games, dude. So I'm like, we're like, it's Anyway.
I told you. You remember my goal, bud? My lifelong goal. It's like the biggest bucket list item.
What?
Master every single accent on God's green earth.
Oh my god.
I love accents.
They're like, you're quite the linguist. You're like,
listen, when people come back
yes.
later on and they're like, he's racist, you try doing like this one voice, or I'm gonna be like, dude, go back to episode 7, okay, and you can hear my declaration of statements of why I seek the. I am trying to get good at accents, guys.
it's important.
It's how I do.
Oh my god. Dude, stop. You haven't mastered it yet, so it's
Still gotta try though.
Anyway, it's like a Metroidvania, but there's these eldritch kind of themes and aesthetics, and it honestly just looks really, really cool. And so one thing I saw though was there's. It's like a mystery, obviously. It's like the last case of Benedict Fox. It's like a mystery and all that, but you're literally, like, as you're going through the world, you're, like, picking up items, and it'll, like, zoom in onto that. It's, like, a modeled item. You can, like, tilt it and look around and, like, kind of like L.A. Noire. And, like, I don't know, all that kind of stuff, I'm like, that sounds tight. I like how a lot of these games are starting to get more, like, innovative, where they're like, let's do a Metroidvania, but let's make it a murder mystery, or let's make it a this, or let's, let's try something different, because Lord knows we've needed some fresh ideas, And this is like all these games I think are just really good examples. The reason why we chose them is because these kind of do show the broad gambit. I think one of the ones we could have mentioned too was Homeworld 3. Okay, like that's like a very long awaited like sequel for the Homeworld series and all that. And that thing looks nuts. Like, when you see the ships flying around and the scale and all that, like, it just looks crazy. And again, like, all the games we chose were mainly just to kind of point out, like, games are getting very interesting again.
Yeah.
And they're starting to hit, like, another wave of, like, just... I think just in a director sense, like, there's a lot of directors with, like, good heads on their shoulders that, like, have a lot of really good ideas. And I think studios are also kind of getting off of that... because games got so popular so quick within the last 10 years and started making so much fucking money that I think the companies kind of were just like, we gotta make more money. We're doing something right. We gotta do more right. And like they lost it for a little bit, like from I think just a very high up in the corporate like kind of sense, like little decisions they make. Like you've talked about this with like even Apple, like little decisions that the high ups make have pretty grand outcomes as it trickles down.
Yep.
And so I think there's just a lot of moves that they're making. I think EA is a good example where they're like microtransactions and this and that, and we need to make more money, numbers need to go up. And I'm not saying that they're not thinking that still, but like it seems like they're getting more they're loosening their hand on the leash a little more to actually allow these developers to even make a lot of the games like this. And so it's just we're in a really good time with games. I think Cory Barlog was talking about that, where it's like gaming is like kind of like going through puberty almost right now, where it's like it has its growing pains, but like it's still very, very like infantile, and so that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed.
Before you end it, something tells me that this is the last case of Benedict Fox because it becomes like a eldritch god, or he gets like sucked up by like some sort of eldritch horror or something at the end. He's like, it's the last case. I'll never have cases again.
Dude, we play the game and we hear the soundbite and it's like this, you saying this, and we're like,
what the hell? They're like, we love your show.
We really love your show.
I'm like, dude,
we were in India when we were making the game. We're like,
we're
you
listening
guys,
from Oman.
Yeah, we're like, We only
What?
had one device playing your podcast through our entire building. We're like, holy
It gave us hope. You're like, wow. That's the dream, honestly.
We're like, dude, we're like Maximilian with freaking Final Fantasy VII Remake. But like, we watched your video every day before we started our work just to keep working on it.
It's like, holy moly, dude.
It's like,
Like,
damn. Dude, that guy must
you guys
feel
were,
like...
You guys were crunching, weren't you?
Oh my god. Dude, freaking, I think last point, Glenn Schofield's, like points on Crunch, dude.
Goodness, dude.
You mind letting the listeners know?
Yeah, I mean,
It just made me laugh, dude.
Like, Glenn Schofield, like, tweets out over the weekend or something. He's like, yeah, you know, it's great. You know, we're just working 6 to 7 days a week, you know, crunching 12 to 15 hours, you know, like, no big deal. Like, none of us are forced to do it, but, man, when you love the job, man, you give your life for it, you know?
It's like, fuck no, don't do that.
I'm paraphrasing, but he basically hits on all those points. You're like, kind of sounds really bad coming from the studio head, bud. Like, they don't have to do it, you know? Unless their bonuses get yanked and their yearly salary increases get yoinked. It's like, goodness gracious.
That's fucking... I just found that so funny because I'm like, it's such a Glenn Schofield response.
He's well-intentioned.
Yeah.
We're trying to scare the living poop out of
Like,
you.
yeah, you know, we just want to make a game that, like, you know, you're gonna love. It's gonna be really badass. There's gonna be lots of blood, lots of guts, but you know,
It's gonna traumatize you, give you PTSD. You're gonna have to take drugs, go to a therapist. It's no big deal, but like, it's gonna be awesome, guys. Like, you're like, wow, man. Like, I'm sold.
Like, something about your voice, dude. It's just assertive.
It's just very like I can hear you like.
I can
telling
hear the
me-
cigarettes.
I can hear him like talking over my shoulder, getting me to make like that tunnel sequence better.
It's like, yeah, you know, it's looking pretty good, but you need to put more velocity when he goes down.
It's fantastic. You know, I like what you're doing there, but you know, you gotta like pull in more blood and you gotta like put more effort into it. I know you've been here for 12 hours, you know, but hey, you know,
He's like,
when you love the job,
he's
you
like
know?
suddenly from Brooklyn when he's over your shoulder, dude.
He's got some accent. I don't know what it is yet. It's still zeroing in.
Anyway, guys,
Anyway, I don't want to bore you.
we don't want to bore you. We
don't
don't
wanna
want to
overstay
go
our
for
welcome, you know,
too
it's just-
long.
Get long in the tooth.
Get a little long.
It's a little cold, a little fog.
It's a little hot.
It is a little hot. Anyway, guys, this has been the Swordcast, episode 7.
Yes.
Thank you all for your time.
Yes.
We stream on Mondays from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and on Thursdays and Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Twitch.tv/Swir Media. Check it out.
This is
For
piss
every-
time, you know,
for
let's be
updates on
specific.
all of our content, all of our everything, and even just our schedules, follow us on Twitter @Swir.media. Well, actually, it's not dot. It's just Swir
It's
Media.
just Swir Media.
@Swir Media.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for watching, folks.
Thank you.
God bless.